labor rate's too high. So let's get into that. And then the other one was it should have only taken.
Well, good morning, TikTok. Ed over here at Figure Repair. So, Brew Daddy Sylvester, he brings up a really good set of points here, and I want to tack on to that just a little bit. So, Sylvester actually called me, and I feel horribly for not having a chance to get him called back. So, sorry, brother, I'll get you called back. But probably it's too late. He figured it out because he's a smart guy. The it's so easy to Monday morning quarterback this stuff, right? I mean, if somebody's bringing their truck to you, 9 times out of 10, they're doing it because they don't know how to fix it. They don't know how to fix it. Now, a few times they do know how to fix it, and they're right about how to fix it. They just don't have time. But a whole lot of times, they don't know how to fix it. They're just like, hey, this thing is causing me problems. You do it every day, and I'm going to let you go ahead and do it. Listen, something is only worth as much as somebody else is willing to pay for it. In Sylvester's case, elsewhere in this video, he says he's got more work than he knows what to do with. That doesn't surprise me at all because Sylvester's a freaking good dude. If you're in the Oregon area and you need someone to work on your stuff, let me recommend Brew Daddy Diesel. He's going to treat you right. He lives by integrity. He lives by all things that the good book says to do by, and he lives his walk. He walks that walk, and it's obvious. And he's good at what he does. So why wouldn't you want to honor and respect him and support that? So labor rate. If you think that Sylvester's labor rate or your local mechanic's labor rate is too high, you're going to forget the old adage about you think you can't afford an expensive mechanic, try hiring a cheap one. And not that labor rate is an indication of quality. It certainly is not. We've seen that, guys charging almost nothing and they're awesome, and guys charging a mint and they're horrible at what they do. Referrals are everything. The book that I read says, by their fruits you shall know them. And it's like, not by what the words they say, by what they actually do and get done, and how they are, and how they behave with the people around them. That's what makes the difference. Oh, like in my case, and I'm struggling here. Why couldn't I call Sylvester back when I wanted to? Because he called me the day after a holiday weekend, and man, holiday weekend weeks are rough. They are just slammed 14, 16, 18-hour days trying to get everybody taken care of. And so by taking care of all those people, guess what I didn't have time to do? Call Sylvester back. Who did I want to call back? Sylvester. Who couldn't I call? Sylvester. Why? Because I was busy helping other customers, taking time away. And so it's like, okay, now in our case, tech support is always free. Man, I got to rethink this model because it's taking up a tremendous amount of time, and it's taken from people. Um, you know, the it's a complicated conversation. We all got to keep the lights on, right? And don't misunderstand. We do well, right? There's a value though when you call up and you don't get somebody right away, and you get like ornery. And you're like, man, I call that Fix Repair place, and all I get is voicemail. And it's like we've made some changes just this week to try to make that better. But the fact of the matter is that there are no right answers. Everybody, this me society that we're in. If you don't like a shop's labor rate, go someplace else. But don't bellyache about your choice. You knew what it was up front. If it's $100 an hour, if it's $5,000 a minute, whatever it is, you agreed to it. So why don't you put your big boy pants on, or your big girl pants on, and say, you know what, I agreed to that, and I got no reason to bellyache. So there's that. Point one. Point two, diagnosing. Oh my goodness. This isn't not like, one of us were like, hey doc, my lower back hurts, or hey doc, my ankle's killing me, or whatever. These trucks, they can't talk, and DTCs only get us so far, right? Lots of times even the DTC code is wrong. You've got an underboost code on a 6-liter, probably it's not a turbo, right? It's like, but it's underboost, it's gotta be turbo. No, it's saying something else. And watch my other videos to find out what that is. It's probably your FICM, actually. I'll just cliff notes first. But there could be some other things. But then there was another piece of here. Well, you should have been able to figure that out in X number of minutes. Maybe. Even a blind squirrel finds a nut. Maybe it'll be just like, oh, it's this. Great. All the customer wants is their stuff to work. And elsewhere in this video, Sylvester's like, hey, I'm over here waxing poetic about resistance and Ohm's law and voltage not being the same as amperage and bad grounds and bad transfer of electron flow and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, well, yeah, and then you got to talk about the whole how are you wearing out this fuel pump in this case? If it was indeed a resistance thing, you're just not giving this motor what it needs, and man, you're gonna burn out the windings. And so all of a sudden, your windings aren't as good as they used to be. And do you want to go ahead and change this part out anyway? Even though, yeah, we fixed your problem, it's working now. But is it working at the level of reliability that you're seeking? I don't know. See, people don't think so much about the why. They don't think about the causal and the effect. Oh, I don't know. It's like, look, you put your wife through a bunch of grief. Eventually, she's not going to be happy with you, and you're going to be spending some time on the couch. If you're a blessed man, if you're not a blessed man, it might get worse. And all of a sudden now, if you're not living in that truth and you're not coming back to truth every day, you might find yourself in divorce court, and it's all because not an individual incident, it's because of a series of incidents, and your fuel pump is no different. So your fuel pump or your alternator or your whatever it is, it's a problem. Like one of my trucks is a 1767 dual alternators, and you know what? My battery light was on the other day, and so guess what? I'm about ready to go do? Swap out some alternators. Now this is a truck with 38,000 miles on it, and my battery light's on. Reliability matters to me. My time matters to me. I don't have somebody like Sylvester local to me. If I did, man, I'd be like, dude, take care of this. I don't have the time. I got trust issues, right? I think a lot of us have trust issues. We can't find a Sylvester local to us. And so, we were like, man, if I don't do it myself, it's just going to end up broken because it's been broken so very many times when somebody else touches my stuff. I'm going to just go ahead and work on it myself. So if you've got somebody like a Sylvester local to you, maybe put it in the comments. You say, hey, look, I've had great luck with this shop or that shop or whatever. In fact, I'm going to shoot a different video on this. Just a map of trusted shops. To say, hey, look, you've got this shop over here. They repeatedly. Now, listen, one instance, that doesn't develop a pattern, right? I want a pattern of trust. If you've got a shop that has established a pattern of trust with you, they've done the right thing. Maybe they screwed up and they made it right. Maybe they diagnosed something that no one was able to figure out. Maybe this, maybe that, the other. And you want to go ahead and you want to give a shout out to a shop. We'll put a heat map up on FICMRepair.com and say, hey, these are some trusted shops that you can go to nationally to get your stuff taken care of. And we got no problem with that because we want to give back. And hopefully you want to give back too. But so let's just point about labor rate. If you don't like a shop's rate, that's on you. Go elsewhere. Obviously, Sylvester is charging, very frankly, too little. Why? Because he's got more work than he can keep up with. He's already said so. That's interesting. Supply and demand. And you hate to, raise your rates so much where you're taking people out of the mix. And he even alluded to the fact that if somebody can't afford it, he might just give it to them anyway. Well, certainly we've done that, and you can't do that continuously, otherwise you'll be out of business. But, you want to be able to take care of people. And part of that involves not putting their truck in the yard for the next 3 months, hoping you're going to get to it one day, because that one day will never happen. And then the second thing is the Monday morning quarterback, you should be able to diagnose that in X amount of time. Maybe. You're not there. You're not in front of the truck. Judgment is the coward's way. It's easy to judge. The book that I read says, judge not, lest ye be judged. So keep that in the back of your mind as you walk this life. Pay it forward. I do believe that actions have consequences. I believe in a God that loves us all, and hopefully you do too. I firmly believe that everyone will live in God and believe in God one day. One day. This is not a religious channel. It's not intended to be, but it is a conversation about doing the right thing. And we know that we got people. They pop the hood and they're looking at something like this in the background. They got no idea what they're looking at. But you do, or Sylvester does, or I do. And so it's like, maybe we should honor that background, honor that commitment, and compensate people for their time without backstabbing and talking trash. All right? So if you need parts for your stuff, we got you. FICMRepair.com. We sell like 16 million auto parts. We rep for everybody. We don't have a dog in the hunt. If you've got ideas for how we can give back and still do what we do while taking care of people, the whole free tech support thing, let us know, because it does take a tremendous amount of time, so all ideas appreciated. All right? So, FICMRepair.com. We're all in this together. And meanwhile, if you know somebody who's looking for a job, have them reach out to us, to be able to be on phones for us, because we need to expand. There's just no question. All right? Thanks very much for listening. We're all in this together.